I don't know what evidence would convince me, but if there is a God, God should know what evidence would convince me, and God has failed to present that. Either way, it's not my fault. It's not my problem. I have no way of knowing what sort of evidence could and should demonstrate the truth of a God. But you think that you have sufficient evidence for belief in a God. So instead of asking me what would convince me, why don't you demonstrate what convinced you? And then I can either say, aha, I agree, you have good standards of evidence, I'm now convinced, or here's your problem.
All right, that kind of takes away the burden on you, right? But I can do that, sure.
There is no fucking burden on me.
No,
look,
if you don't have
look, shut up. I do not have a burden of proof. The claim that God exists has a burden of proof, just like the claim the Loch Ness Monster exists has a burden of proof, just like the claim that Bigfoot exists has a burden of proof. The fact that I don't know what would convince me doesn't change the fact that you are fucking convinced. You have a standard of proof that you think is reasonable, that you are now convinced by. Instead of dancing around and trying to blame me, saying I'm shifting the burden of proof, why don't you meet the burden of proof, which you already fucking have?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, sir, but if you don't know what evidence would convince you, I can't help you. Like, it's just me.
Goodbye, then. Goodbye.
I can't help you. Okay,
goodbye.
Bye.
You can't help anybody because you are a coward who won't present the evidence for why you believe. Yeah, you hung up. Run away, bitch. I can't help you. You're correct. You can't. You know why you can't? Because you don't listen.
Yeah.
You can't help me because you don't have good standards of evidence. You can't help me because you won't present the evidence that convinced you that you think should be convincing to other people. You want to try to figure out, this ain't my fucking first day at this job.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do is you want me to say, I would need evidence like this. And then you can say, well, that's your problem. You're just too skeptical. You have standards of evidence that are just too high. God's not going to meet that because blah, 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 blah. I've been down this road for 20 years, pretty much, or 19 and a half years. I've been down this over and over and over again. I'm fucking 10 yards better understanding in this than you have ever been, and you're a little coward. Oh, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You couldn't present an argument for how hell is justified or how God is just. All you did was say that God is perfectly moral. Well, that's an unfounded fucking assertion. It's not an argument or evidence. All you did was say that no sin should go unpunished, but you failed to acknowledge that all of your sins go unpunished because you buy into the concept of substitutionary atonement, as if your sins don't have to be punished because God can choose to forgive you whether you deserve it or not. But why wouldn't God choose to forgive someone who honestly does not accept the doctrine? God should be able to forgive whoever he wants. You have a train wreck of epistemology and a train wreck of Christian doctrine that I used to share, and you can sit there and smugly go, I can't help you. I know. And you know what? I can't help you because Christianity has poisoned your brain to the point where you won't listen to reason, you won't defend your positions, you cannot give answers that aren't just spewing up, vomiting up the fact that you accepted doctrine. Well, congratulations. You accept the doctrine that I accepted once upon a time, and now I don't, because I learned why I shouldn't, and you haven't learned that yet. You could have if you'd have been willing to present your case so that I could answer it, but instead you decided to turn it around and make it about me. It ain't about me. You're the one with the God belief. You're the one with the burden of proof. I don't have a burden of proof to show that God doesn't exist.